Yo, sometimes sequels are mandatory. That's right, Steph-tember is back. Steph-tember 2. Sometimes they come back. Oh, and I know what you're thinking, man. Why are you wearing a Halloween shirt in fucking September, bro? It's because I'm getting ready. I'm prepping, dude. It's all about the aura. It's all about the anticipation. I like long, romantic walks through haunted houses. Like, don't fucking at me, and that's right. I know you're wondering what Steph-tember is. Well, last year we did a little mini-series on 3 of Stephen King's movies. The last week of September, baby, we're gonna be locking in, talking about Stephen King. And in this first video, I know what you're thinking. Bro, this isn't a Stephen King IP. Well, guess what? He ripped it off. Hella. And we're gonna be doing some other great Stephen King stuff along the way. So I promise you we're turning up. We get ready for October. What's the biggest way to hype up October than talking about the Master of Horror himself? Speaking of Master of Horror, we're talking about a Masters of Horror episode, which I don't even think Stephen King directed one, so is he not even a Master of Horror at all? Let's fucking lock in. Who's the real Master of Horror? Today we are talking about a freakish delight from the hit TV series Masters of Horror. That's right. Back in the early 2000s, some of the biggest legends known to man came together and they decided to do an anthology series. Personally, if you've been on the Drip Fed Dread for a while, you know how bad Ratty loves a good fashion anthology series. Tongue twister. How much Ratty loves a good old-fashioned anthology series. I want to say that this first episode to kickstart the entire franchise is actually personally one of my favorites. Starring my shorty, Rosalie from Grimm. Grimm is my favorite show of all time. I'm going to be transparent with you, I love that show. It is based on a novella by John R. Lansdale entitled Incident on and Off a Mountain Road. And I feel like it's something genuinely spooky, creepy, exciting, and a fun, thrilling serial killer lore vibe. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, come hang out with me. What up, y'all? Welcome back to Fan of the Indie Review. I'm your host, 96 Compressor Dill. We are on the journey of 5,000 subscribers by Halloween Eve, the night of the witches, the most tormenting extravaganza of the year, and we fucking turning up. I know I've been warning y'all for months, we turning up this October. We only got some bangers coming ahead, and then once October hits, I can't stress enough, we revamp in the studio and we're gonna do some dirty, grimy, horrific, scary shit for the channel, for the peeps, for the villagers. We're turning up, so if any of that sounds of interest to you, come hang out with me. Give me a shovey. And I hate to be the one to say this, but Stephen King, the Master of Horror himself, fucking ripped off the story. How? Some pretty serious allegations at hand, but hear me out. Y'all familiar with 1992's Gerald's Game? That freaky ass novel that was made into a movie by Mike Flanagan. You remember the infamous killer, the Moonlight Man? If you don't, I did a whole backstory on the character right there. I know what you're thinking, that is an iconic, spooky character from Stephen King's canon that cannot be discredited. But what if I told you that this specific horror story we're talking about from Masters of Horror was written in 1991, and let's just say the pivotal horror character is named Moonface, and I'm seeing similarities here. I'm not saying Stephen King deliberately knocked it off. I'm not saying Mike Flanagan did, but Moonface, Moonlight Man, they look a lot alike. Like, did Stephen King fucking rip off mans? That's for you to decide. But yeah, this episode focuses on a girl named Ellen who's driving down a dark, desolate road in the middle of the night when, distracted by past memories, accidentally crashes her car and is in shambles, and she gets out instantly, grabs her cell phone, no cell service. You know that trope from the early 2000s. It's like, oh, I don't got a signal, bad shit might happen. And then when she looks down the over cliff of this mountainside, she sees someone scurrying back up, and she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, she tries to be a good Samaritan. She's like, I fucked up, this is all my fault, I'm the one that caused this accident. As this looming shadowy figure comes closer and closer, she gets a weird sense, and all of a sudden she sees that this dude is carrying a victim up the hill, screaming, begging for her life, going, help me, help me, help me. And as this man looks up, it's a deformed, hideous, vile, mutant-looking motherfucker. Oh, big swollen motherfucker. The Moonface character, look at this dope intro, dude. Like, oh man, he comes in swagger. Played by John DeSantis, I believe his name is. You know, we know and love him for many things, such as the Jackal from the 13 Ghosts, dude. Like, that's how you know this guy is fucking haunting. And from here, this episode is a fight for survival from Ellen's perspective, but this is where the episode gets deep, entrenched, and very important to the character Ellen, because you're like, why are we rooting for this girl? Because we get snippets throughout the episode of her and her husband that she meets on a date. His name is Bruce. He's kind of like that survivalist, doomsday prepper, ex-military rough and tough guy, and they seem to kick it off, and we get the gist that throughout the episode, everything she is learning in the woods, fending for her life against Moonface, whether she can set a trap very well, or, you know, cause diversions, or do all these things to save her life, she was learning all along from her husband, Bruce, played by Ethan Embry. Gotta love the guy. And they have great chemistry together. I feel like that little segment of the episode really hinged on feeling a connection between the two, Ellen and Bruce, and I feel like both actors in that specific scenario brought a lot of heart and determination. And as the episode progresses, we see a twist on the side of that story as well. She's running through the woods, she gets some blows on the killer himself, she really locks in, and as the episode progresses, she ends up stumbling into Moonface's fucking decrepit house with all these bodies posted up on, impaled on giant fucking posts with their eyes missing, and it's a very creepy, haunting ambiance underneath the moonlight. And that's one thing I can say about this episode. I really like the cinematography, the vibe of a dark, desolate mountain road. It's very eerie, it's very haunting. The moon acts as a character itself with its protruding radiance. The woods brings a great atmosphere to it, and the house he lives in is quite creepy too. But again, we keep getting these snippets back and forth with her and Bruce, and as those stories unravel, he becomes more controlling. There's this one scene where they're having a beautiful moment out in the woods, and he gets a little forceful on her, and like he's trying to fucking get the point across. He's like, I have to teach you to survive. Like you aren't made for this world, and I'm here to like build you up. It's almost like he has an insecure ego on himself. He's like, I can take care of myself, but I gotta take care of the woman I love, and that unfolds and really unravels into a confrontation between the both of them when he's really belittling her. He's like, you do not stand a chance in this life if you are not strong enough. And he's forcing her to do these things. He's like, do this fucking knife trick, fight me back, fight me, do this. And then she like can't handle it, and she spirals and she accidentally cuts him, and she's like, I don't want to be with you anymore. And it's heartbreaking. Like, you feel like, again, even though it's only a 48-minute episode, you feel that build in compassion between each other, because you're like, they started off really strong from that first date, and then you slowly see it start to unravel. So with only like half the screen time, I feel like they really packed that punch. And as she gets into this house, there's this little old man tied up in shackles named like Buddy, and there's something off about him, and he's telling her the lore. He's like, yo, this is Moonface. He likes to cut out the eyes of his victims, and he's gonna keep you down here forever. This is home. And there's one brutal graphic scene where one of the girl that Moonface had captured right before Ellen gets brutally decimated, and it's not as gory and graphic as you think, but it's very suggestive and kind of gut squirming and very haunting, and it just shows the point that Moonface is a man of his word, and that really adds to the fear of him as well, because you're like, well, usually in movies when a killer's just chasing you around the woods, it's like, how scary can you be? But it shows like with the victims all around the house, and what he does to this other victim, what he's capable, and what Ellen is about to become, essentially. And you're really rooting for her, and she gets more badass and progressive along the way, when finally she gets to a standstill and actually overcomes the odds and fucks up Moonface. And this is where like it gets kind of very interesting, because she escapes the house. That dude Buddy, let's just say he gets his comeuppance one way or the other, and as she's crawling up the hill back to her car, it's a relief. You feel very happy. You feel like she finally did it. She escaped, and then boom, it hits you with this crazy like Tales from the Crypt type premise, where she pops open her trunk, and her husband Bruce is dead in there. And essentially, we get a very dramatic scene of Bruce coming back because she wanted to leave him, and he's like, "No, you're not leaving me. Like, if I can't have you, no one can." Brutal, intense fight scene, and she happened to overcome the odds and step up and defeat the monster trying to change her poetically all along, and she kills him because self-defense, all these things he taught her really unraveled, and she was in a fight or flight mode where she really had to, and that was very poetic in itself, because, you know, he spent all this time trying to build her up, trying to save her, but at the same time, he was the reason why she was so scared and anxious, and that's kind of fucked up. Like, he should have been her sacred love space, but instead he was the one tormenting her, and she finally had enough. That's what I really appreciate about this episode, because it's not just like a creepy deformed killer in the woods stalking these people and taking their eyes out. That enough is creepy, but it gives you that backstory and that compassion of Ellen, and how she's a survivor, and how she is really, you know, just got done conquering her biggest fear in life, which was her abusive husband, and then she was able to take out this killer based off the things he taught her, which is a very poetic, like, reflective way of saying, I feel like in relationships sometimes you end up with people that sometimes it ends and you thought that was a person you were meant to be with, but they teach you the most lessons. The story about survival, heart, determination, a strong female character, which Bree Turner really does a phenomenal job. She's an amazing actress. I'm not trying to hype her up, but she really carried this whole episode to herself, alongside with Moonface, the killer. He was haunting, brooding, and very scary, and I feel like you were rooting for her, but you wanted to see the killer more. You wanted to see him because he was so interesting. And again, it reminds me a lot of Stephen King's Gerald's Game, where like it's a strong female protagonist trying to survive and overcome abuse, trauma, and horror with a killer that is a serial killer named after the moon. Like, piece that together how you will. I feel like Stephen King definitely fucking copped that from this dude, and like I like them both equally. I like Gerald's Game. Like I said, I did a review on The Moonlight Man, but now seeing this comparison, I'm like, damn. But all in all, it was a pretty great episode. It really kick-started the fucking Masters of Horror, and if you guys want to see me do more episodes of Masters of Horror, let's get this to 20 likes. Comment down below that's what you want. But alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Give me a thumb or hit that ding link button harassing you, telling you, hey, it's me, I'm here, and I'm gonna say it one time for the one time and two times for the pose. Give me a hell yeah for horror.
Good Lord, it smells bad in here. When's he gonna clean it out, by golly? There's one thing I can't stand, it's a messy house.
Those stories that, like, it might not stand out as the best episode, but has a lot to offer. With that being said, Mary Jo is a troubled young lady who we find out is working on a farm for an old couple named George